In this video I'm gonna show you the great benefit of combining 3 of the most effective exercises for guitar beginners, which will allow you to speed up the process of getting the fingers used to the guitar so that you can move them effortlessly all over the fretboard. Hey, it's Gregor from the Guitar Hero's Journey, the place to help you become a real guitarist so you can make and perform the music that you love. If you are a complete guitar beginner, then it's completely normal that you struggle with the most basic techniques of a guitarist. That's completely normal and totally fine. Getting the fingers to move effortlessly all over the fretboard usually takes time, but with commitment, diligent practice and a special set of exercises, you really can supercharge the process. Let me show you how. The reason why it takes so long for many beginners to getting the fingers used to the guitar is that they probably don't know that the most effective way to achieve that is a combination of multiple exercises which complement each other instead of single and unrelated exercises, or worst, no exercises at all to speed up the process. But before we dive into the exercises, let me briefly explain the guiding ideas and principles on which they are based off. So let's start with the first principle. It's the principle of reduction and repetition. The basic idea behind that principle is that you will gain the highest leverage point if you can reduce and simplify a rather complex task into its building blocks, so that you can easily do more repetitions on a simplified part instead of trying and failing on a rather complex task more often. So in short, you're chunking down, do repetitions and put the whole thing together. So let's take a moment and recognize that the basic movements of a guitar player can be broken down into one of these 3 categories: the gripping hand movement, the picking hand movement, and the synchronization of both movements. Accordingly to the first practice principle, all we now have to do is just to create an exercise for each of these 3 categories and then simply do repetitions, and that's exactly what we will do here. But before we do that, we need to talk about the second practice principle in order to be highly effective, and it's the principle of continuous practice. This is a little bit self-explanatory here, but it needs to be said. You are working here on a relatively complex skill, and naturally that can't be done by 1 or 2 practice sessions. So let's keep it short here. Have a daily practice session. If that's not possible, practice every other day. And if that's not possible, practice 3 times a week. And if that's not possible, practice whatever you can arrange for yourself. But the important thing here is have some sort of scheduled practice session. Do repetitions and do them continuously over weeks, months, and even years. Alright, so let's get right into the exercises. Exercise number 1 is a single-handed exercise, so use only your gripping hand. You produce the notes by hammering on the string with your fingertips. Let me show you this exercise first. We are starting here on the 7th fret on the E string. This exercise will help you to develop the main qualities of a solid gripping hand. These are strength, precision, finger independence, flexibility, and tension control. So let me give you some tips and instruction for this exercise. The first and most important tip is this: hit the string with your fingertip. Your fingertips are the most energy efficient part of your finger to fret the string. It's the part which is closer to the bone, so that you don't waste much energy by pressing through some softer parts of your finger. The next tip is this. The goal is to be consistent and have an even pulse, so choose your own tempo, it's not a speed exercise. And the next goal we want to achieve is to be comfortable with the stretch from the 1st fret to the 4th fret while maintaining the right finger posture. So be prepared that this exercise is to some degree a flexibility exercise. If you have difficulties to start this exercise because you can't stretch your fingers from the 7th to the 10th fret, then start this exercise from the 12th fret and move your way down to the 1st fret. The next tip is this. Become aware how much tension you are using during this exercise. Try to relax as much as possible. The last one is this. Try to produce as much loud and clear notes as possible. That is quite hard in the beginning, but work up your way to achieve that goal. If you start to feel comfortable with this one, then add or replace this exercise number 1 with one of these variations. The next variation is a little harder because it contains string changes. Do this one after you've mastered exercise 1 and variation number 1. Alright, exercise number 2 covers the picking hand movement. It is also a single-handed exercise and will help you to develop a basic and solid picking hand technique. Although this exercise seems to be stupidly simple, it is highly effective. Please don't be deceived by its simplicity. So here it is, exercise number 2. So here are some tips and instructions for this exercise. Use downstrokes only. The downstroke movement is the basis for alternate picking. Feel free to dampen the strings with your gripping hand. Pick the notes with good attack and produce loud and clear notes. The movement comes mainly, if not solely, from the wrist, so keep your fingers still. Become aware of how much tension you are using during this exercise. Try to relax as much as possible. If you feel comfortable with this one, then add or replace exercise number 2 with this variation. It's basically the same, but you're using alternate picking. This is our standard exercise. You probably know it already or a variation of it. But stay with me. The real magic is in the combination with the preceded exercises. The results will speak for themselves. So here it is. Alright, here are the tips and instruction for exercise number 3. Choose your own tempo. It's not a speed exercise, it's a synchronization exercise. Next step would be keep both hands relaxed. Control the tension and don't let the tension control you. Play this one at first towards the higher frets, it's easier this way. And if you feel comfortable with this, then try to move towards the lower frets. Use alternate picking. Okay, there we have it. All we need to do now is to implement them into a practice schedule. So here is a short plan for you so you can start immediately. Do every exercise for a minimum of 2 minutes straight without stopping. So exercise 1 for 2 minutes, exercise 2 for 2 minutes, and then exercise 3 for 2 minutes, so that you got a total practice time of 6 minutes straight without stopping. The key here is to build momentum and slowly increase the practice time. Strive for a set of 3 times 5 minutes after 1 or 2 weeks, and then to a set of 3 times 10 minutes after 1 or 2 months. Judge your progress after a month of doing this exercise continuously. You will probably see, feel and hear the results much earlier. The key is really to stay on track. You will develop a feeling for this exercise. So in this sense, thanks for watching and be your own teacher. Alright, I'm signing off. Please put this effective combo into your practice session and tell me what you think of it in the comments down below.